for loops let you decide how many times you want to loop. So I'm going to start off by doing for I equals 1, comma, 10, do, hit enter. It'll have the end set up. Obviously, like all the other loops, it'll run the code in between the for and the end. I'm just going to print I. I'll show you what I means here in a sec. Wait 1. And so for loops can declare their own variable that they use for the loop. And what that variable is it's the number that the loop is on. So as you can see, that printed 1 to 10. So this only printed 10 times. It was 1 to 10. So like if I went from 1 to 5, it would only loop through that code 5 times. There's that. And if I were to change this to like 2 to 5, that means it would start at 2 and go to 5 instead of, starting at 1 and going to 5. So yeah, the first number is what number it starts at, and the second number is the number it ends at, and you can actually add in a third number to say how much it increments by. So normally it'll just increment by 1 every time, but let's say if I wanted to increment by 0.1, that'll give us a lot more, a lot more loops, because it's incrementing from 2 to 10 by 0.1 every time. For loops are good for linear searches through tables. So I'll do a local people equals table, and then I'll put in like John, Jane, Nick, I don't know, Alan. And then you can do for I equals 1 to the number of people. So this hashtag number sign is going to get me the amount of indexes inside of people. Again, if you aren't understanding tables, I went over tables a little bit in the second video. So yeah, for I equals 1 number of people do, we'll do print people and then the index I. And so since I is the number of the loop, we're gonna, get the index number I. And I'll just do a wait 0, 1, and that's gonna loop through everybody in the table, as we see. And I don't have to change any of this. I can also add, another person. So I'll just type in person and it'll show up. It'll automatically count that. So I know a lot of beginners have trouble understanding a pairs for loop. I think it's because you don't learn tables before that. And pairs is actually really easy if you understand tables. So a pair for loop has 2 variables, the iterator and the actual value. So that's I, comma, v. And again, those can be whatever name you want. I don't have to do IV. I could do OB, and it'll mean the same thing. But IV makes it a little more understandable. In pairs, parentheses. Inside of parentheses, you put your table, and then do, hit enter. Now the code we're going to put inside, I'm just going to do print I and print V, and maybe you'll be able to understand what's going on. Actually, I'll do this in 1. So I, and then V. So it'll return the index number, and then it'll also return the value inside of that index. So let's say I wanted to make a loop that'll clear these parts out of workspace if their name is part. And I want it to work so that no matter how many parts there are, as long as it's named part, it'll remove all of them. So what I'm going to do is local workspace table equals workspace colon get children. This will return a table of everything inside a workspace. I've gone over this before, so I can do a for I, comma, v in pairs workspace table do if v.name is equal to part, like I wanted it to be, then v destroy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If I hit run, there's all of our parts gone. And if I keep duplicating these parts, spread them out everywhere, it'll just it'll delete all of them. As long as the name's part, it'll delete it. So like if I name this one part like part all lowercase, that's not going to remove it. It's just going to stay there. I hope I'm not boring you too much. We're nearing the end of these beginner tutorials because I really want to start making, tutorials about actual game design. Um, yeah, I'll probably start an intermediate series of what I consider intermediate. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.